Good evening. It's one thing to know that the Lord is with us. We confess, we comfort each other with this fact that Christ is the Emmanuel, God with us. But the grace of God goes even further than, dare I say, simply Christ with us. The Bible teaches us that Christ sent His Spirit to live in us. If we read Romans 8 from verse 9, we hear you, however, are controlled not by the sinful nature, but by the Spirit, if the Spirit of God lives in you. And if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he does not belong to Christ. But if Christ is in you, your body is dead because of sin, yet your spirit is alive because of righteousness. And if the Spirit of Him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, He who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through His Spirit who lives in you. This is the wonder of the work of the Spirit in us. He came to live in us. He doesn't just come to me every now and again. He doesn't just come to visit me from time to time. He's not only at hand whenever I need Him, He is in me always and everywhere. Therefore, I can't leave Him at home when I go to places where I think He would not be comfortable or where I don't want Him to be. I can't put Him on like I put on my Sunday best clothes to go to church and then take Him off again when I go to work on Monday. He is always with me. He is with me everywhere I go. And this is a tremendous thought. It fills one with fear and reverence. How can the Holy Spirit live in an unholy person? Exactly this question brings us to the important realization that we can never speak of the Spirit separate from Christ and His work of justification. That's why Paul, just after saying that the Spirit dwells in us, goes on to describe the mystery and the unity between Christ and the Spirit, saying, if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he does not belong to Christ. But if Christ is in you, your body is dead because of sin, yet your spirit is alive because of righteousness. The life-giving Spirit of God lives in me through Christ, and Christ lives in me through the Spirit. The reason for this is the righteousness I received from God based on the work of justification by Christ. And therefore, believers are called the temple of the Holy Spirit in 1 Corinthians 3. Verse 16 says, don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit lives in you? As a believer, you are a living, walking, talking temple of God, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Wherever you are, the Holy Spirit is also. This thought of the indwelling of the Holy Spirit is such a comforting thought. It speaks of the intimate relationship that the Spirit has with me. It speaks of how close He is to me. I don't ever have to go looking for the Holy Spirit. He is never in a place other than in the heart of the believer, in the heart of the church, in the congregation of the Lord. There He is with you, in you, the source of life, the source of wisdom, the source of power. The Holy Spirit dwells in you as a believer. Good evening.